Hey guys, it's Christine with Indigo Healing, and this is a special reading for divine love, twin flame, soulmates, whatever label you put on it. I know some people don't really like to call it something in particular, so it's all encompassing. If this is a reading that you feel called to watch, then it's the reading for you. But this is not going to be a typical weekly energy reading. This is going to be one that is for kind of giving us a glimpse into what might be happening in your connections for Venus retrograde. Venus went retrograde on October 5th, and it is going to be going in retrograde until November 16th, so about 40 days. And it's starting in the sign of Scorpio, and Venus is not really, that is not where Venus is at home. And so, it's going to be starting out in a sign where it's kind of uncomfortable, and it's going to be moving later in the month into the sign of Libra, which is a sign that it's comfortable in. I believe Libra is ruled by Venus, but I've said a million times, I am not an astrologer, so I could be totally messing that up. But I think that this is potentially it could be rocky for some people at the beginning of this. But I think as we move along and we move into Libra, I think that things will kind of begin to smooth out. From what I have been gathering in terms of information, this is going to be a very good time to be looking at your relationships. And, I think kind of taking a look at what is working for you and what's not working for you. This is going to be a really good time to be focusing on yourself instead of focusing on your relationships. There might be a lot of truths, information, secrets may be coming to the surface, particularly in the beginning of this retrograde. And, I really think that there is going to be opportunity for some people. You might have relationships from the past coming back to you. You might be revisiting issues that you thought maybe you left behind you. The name of the game to me with this energy is just don't do anything super major. Don't get too attached to anything. Just kind of stay open to what comes towards you and kind of see where things end up by the middle of November. So I hope that information was helpful for you. I know it was a little all over the place because, like I said, I'm not an astrologer. But, as I was pulling the cards out, my intent was to give some guidance on this Venus retrograde, and that's exactly what came out. And so this is going to be a reading that's going to kind of encompass this entire 40-day period that we're in, and then I'm going to do mini updates as we go through it. So I hope that you find that helpful for you. This is a reading that is for a large number of people, so it may not resonate with you. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. Just take what does, leave the rest. If this reading does resonate with you and you're interested in getting a personal reading with me, all of my information is going to be in the description box below. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the camera down so that you can see the cards as I'm talking about them. So bear with me for 1 second as I do that. And can you see them? Yeah. Okay. So I did my traditional layout that I usually do with the divine feminine over here, the divine masculine over here. And I was pretty excited about how this all kind of turned out. So if you are feeling like the heaviness of this, if this has been a tough retrograde for you so far, or just a few days in, I think that the energy is going to lighten up and it is going to get better for you. So I'm going to start over here. We have the Ace of Air. And right away, like I was saying in the beginning, you are going to be starting to see the truth of something. Something is going to come to light. And I think it's going to kind of set you, maybe not on a completely new path, but it's going to kind of push you in the direction of beginning something new is going to be coming from it. Even if it's just a new phase of, your life, a phase of a relationship or something. But this is, something is going to be coming to light. And, it might be something that you were already, maybe a little bit aware of, had an idea was coming, but it doesn't make the revelation any easier for you. And that could be something that you're experiencing right now. If you haven't already, it's coming up for you. Truth is going to be coming out about something. If someone's keeping a secret from you, or if there's just a revelation about a situation that you're in, a relationship you're in, that's all going to be coming to the surface. And the clarifying card that came out with this is the Queen of Wands. And I feel like whatever this truth is it's going to be it's going to be kind of pushing you to continue with, whatever it is that you were working on, where you were being creative, you were, doing your own thing. I feel like you are already kind of on a path to the attitude of, I got this and I have what I need to be successful. I'm moving forward. And this truth is just kind of like, it's just like a confirmation. So I do think that whatever is coming to light here, I don't think it's going to be a huge surprise. Like I said, it's going to be a little challenging. I don't think you're going to be thrilled, but it's not going to be a really big surprise for you. And this might even just be you needing to face the truth about a situation that you're in or a relationship that you're in. It might not be, a secret specifically coming out or anything like that. So keep that in mind. For the masculine, they have awakening. And, I was kind of struck when this card came out because it's similar in the sense that their eyes are going to be open to something. Like they've been in a situation, they've been seeing it a certain way. They're going to be seeing it from another perspective, or having the angle of it changed on them. Like what I'm picturing in my head is if you watch a football game and, if the television has been on one particular angle of the game and then it suddenly switches to another and you see like a whole different perspective, like a whole maybe different side of the stadium, or a different view of the players on the bench, or, something like that. That's kind of what I'm seeing. It's just like, oh, there's a whole lot more to this that I was not seeing, was not aware of. And, it struck me as very similar to this Ace of Air energy of like a truth being realized or a truth coming out or things taking place, things happening. And I feel like for these divine masculine, there's like something kind of big deal happening with them, and I'm not sure if they're going to be very forthcoming about it, because I think that it's something that is a struggle for them on a regular basis, and they just don't want to be, they don't always want to talk about that. Like they just don't want to be like facing their issues all the time. Not facing their issues, that's not, they don't want to be talking about the issues with somebody that has nothing to do with them. And when they're interacting with you, divine feminine, they don't want to bring that baggage into the equation. I mean, they do, just because that's part of their life, but they don't want to be constantly bringing that baggage with them. So they might not really be telling you much of what's going on, but the clarifying cards that came out with this awakening card are the Seven of Wands and then the Seven of Swords. And, I feel like there's a really good chance, so again, like truths are being revealed, secrets potentially being revealed. And I feel like that they've been in a situation that they've really been like holding their ground on it. They've been really stuck on a particular idea or particular situation. And I mean, they have like dug their heels in. They feel like this is the way I think things should be done, and so this is how I'm going to do it. And, almost like, and I feel like it's whatever the situation they're in. It's like whatever the situation is, it might not be very healthy for them. They might not be happy in it, but it's like they're defending staying in that position at all costs. Like it's been like, no, I'm not changing this. This is what I believe. This is, and like digging their heels in. But this situation, they're realizing like there's been deception happening here. They did not have the full picture. They did not see, or were not being shown everything that they needed to, make like an informed choice about things that they were doing. And I mean, they could have just been like pulling the wool over their own eyes. I don't know that they're completely innocent in that, but whatever the situation is that they're dealing with, it's going to be kind of we have awakening. The card is awakening. It's going to be like a wake up call for them, and they're going to need to really spend some time figuring out who they are, and learning how to be who they are, because I think they're going to be realizing that this, sticking your ground over something, that it was not what they thought it was. And I think that, this is a card of, maybe like a bit of a standstill, things not moving one way or the other. And I think it's because, that this is not going to be easy information for them, and they may need to be just sitting with it for a few minutes and not going one way or the other. Now, the next card for them, they get the Nine of Earth. And I think whatever this stuff is that they are realizing, it kind of just pushes them back into that, you know what, I got to focus on myself for a bit here. I got to figure out who I am. I got to do what I need to do to take care of myself. And so I feel like there's a bit of focus on work, putting your head down and doing the work, but then And the free time is investing in themselves and doing things for themselves that make them feel good. And I was really surprised by the card that came out as a clarifier. It was the Ace of Cups. But when I sat with it for a minute, I feel like in order for them to be able to offer their cup to another individual, they need to fill it up first. And this Nine of Earth is, this period of, where they're focusing on themselves. They're refilling their cup so that they're able to offer it to another person. And I do think that there is, it's like when they get to this point, they're not going to be focused on the person that they have feelings for, but it is going to be in the back of their mind that they eventually want to offer this cup to somebody. And this hand is actually going in the direction of the divine feminine. So I do think that it is something that he desires, but it's just not going to be on the forefront. He's got to fill it up first, which is good. That's something that we talk about a lot is, you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to take care of yourself. You need to focus on self-care. So the next card for the feminine, she has the Two of Earth and she has the Six of Air. And I think, that for the divine feminine, I do feel like that for some of you, that you might have somebody, or not necessarily somebody, but something from your past is going to be coming back. And I feel like you're going to be feeling a bit overwhelmed, like you're juggling, like there's too many things going on for you to be able to, sit down and focus on any one thing. For some of you, this might be needing to make a decision about something, and you've just got too many balls in the air to be able to sit down and actually focus on what it is that you need to do. But then with the Six of Air, I feel like this is you realizing that, you are going to be moving into a better place. You might, I feel like this could be potentially where that, where Venus goes from Scorpio into Libra. Because this is a card that can indicate the end of a difficult situation or moving away from a difficult situation. And so you may end up deciding that, the things that are up in the air with you, you may decide to move away from one of those things, if it's not bringing you what you need, if it's not serving you. And the clarifying card is the Eight of Wands. And I feel like this is telling us that whatever you decide to do, whatever you decide to focus on with this Two of Earth energy, it's going to be successful. It's going to move you towards success. I feel like things are going to move pretty quickly in this part for you. And this is also a card of communication. So this could be, communication about a relationship or communication within a relationship that is beneficial, maybe some good news. Now, the next cards coming up for the Divine Feminine, we have the King of Water and we have the Two of Fire. And so I do feel like whatever was going on here, you know, making a decision, moving away from something that was difficult, you know, we have this Two of Fire energy where you're focused on moving forward. I'm sorry if you hear any random loud noises. My dog is horse playing outside my office, and he can be a little loud. So if you hear any bangs or anything like that, it's just the dog. You know, the Two of Fire, this is a card of new partnerships. So, you know, I'm really interested to see how this ends up playing out for the Divine Feminine. Now, you have the Two of Fire. The other card is the King of Water, and I feel like you're ready to move forward with your King of Water, that person who is trustworthy, compassionate, you know, the person that you go to for that you just look at with open-hearted love. And I really do feel like this is a person that you're seeing here, that you're going to move forward with here. And the clarifying card that came out is the Eight of Pentacles. And I kind of laughed when this came out, because I hear from clients all the time, and you know, and I hear, you know, in the Twinflame community and just in general, how much work it feels like, you know, that this dynamic is a process, and you constantly feel like you're working at something. And I feel like that is what that represents, is you're going to be continually working on this connection, that this is just, you know, another phase, another chapter, but it's, you know, it's one you're continuing to move through. Which, you know, I thought that was a pretty good message, but I know that sometimes for the Divine Feminine, it gets exhausting. I'm sure it does for the Divine Masculine too. But feeling like you're constantly working on this union versus just being in it. And, you know, and I think that when you have those thoughts, you know, remember, be like, yeah, you know, there is a lot of work, but maybe looking at it in a different way. Not that it's work, but just this is just the process. And, you know, as you move through phases and as you learn more, as you heal more, you move through some of the sticky spots faster and faster. At least that's what I have seen. Now, for the Divine Masculine, I was really surprised when his cards came out. He got the Ace of Fire, so we have new beginnings, we have passion, we have new opportunities. And then we have the Queen of Water. And so, you know, with the Divine Feminine, I'm really seeing the cards that came out here as, you know, indicating she is moving forward with her king. And I really feel like for a lot of you, that's your Divine Masculine. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that I don't feel like this necessarily indicates, are you going to be moving forward platonically or, you know, with more of that romantic aspect. I think that it's going to look how it's going to look. But, you know, at the end of this, you're moving forward with that Divine Masculine energy. I feel like with this, so we have the Ace of Fire and we have the Queen of Water. And, you know, the Divine Masculine is also ready for new beginnings and excitement and passion with his Queen, with his Divine Feminine. And, you know, and I'm kind of curious. I would love to hear from people on this, because the clarifying card for the Divine Masculine with his cards here was the Devil. And there were a couple of things that I got with that. You know, one, I feel like he is struggling with moving forward because he feels like he's trapped. He feels like he's in a situation where he's trapped and he can't get out of it. But that's not the case. And I think it's that digging in of his feet and not willing to kind of see how things really are that leads him to feel like he's trapped. But with this card, if you notice, I don't know if that's focusing very well, but if you notice the chains around each person's neck, they're loose. They could get away from this if they really wanted to. So it's just that it's an illusion of being stuck in a situation. And so I think that hampers the divine masculine moving forward. But I also get from this card that there's some massive sexual energy coming from the divine masculine, and maybe even some attachment or potentially even addiction to the divine feminine energy. Now, I'm curious because I can't speak for other connections, but I am curious if the divine masculines that you guys are involved with or connected to or just know of, if they tend to have really high sexual energy, if there is more of a drive on that sexual side of things, then it is than it is on the feminine side. And don't get me wrong, like in these connections, obviously there's a lot of sexual attraction and chemistry, but I'm feeling, at least in this period of time, it's like really hardcore coming out for the divine masculine. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that, because I'm just curious if that's just an observation from the people that I've worked with, or if that's something that other people are seeing as well. So the crowning energy that you both are going to be kind of working your way into towards the end of this Venus retrograde, we have the High Priestess. And this is a card, again, about things that you don't see necessarily. Like, there's potentially hidden stuff taking place. But this is a card of listening to your intuition. This is a card of following that inner knowing. And and I think that both the divine masculine and divine feminine are going to be working towards that through this Venus retrograde, is going within and focusing on yourself and trusting what's there. And I feel like this is a card also stressing to be patient, because you need to take some time to consider what you want before you act on it. And I think I mentioned this in the beginning of the video about Venus retrograde, is like, don't do anything crazy major during this retrograde, because Venus could go direct, and you might find that that person from the past that maybe stirred some feelings up for you, you might say like, yep, they're in the past for a reason. So this is, you're going to be kind of going through all this stuff, but I think you're going to know to just, really stay true to that inner voice and not act too rashly. Like, really think about what you want before you act on it. And the clarifying card that came out here was the Hanged Man. Remember, Hanged Man, this is a temporary standstill. So this could be a period of time where you're going into like not making any major movement in one direction or another, because you're just kind of waiting to see how the dust settles. And again, I talked about how the Hanged Man, because that's the awakening card down here, it's seeing things from another angle, and I feel like you're going to know that you don't have all the information that you need yet, and so you're just going to be in a holding pattern. For some of you, this could potentially get frustrating, especially if you've got the Divine Masculine over here, kind of chomping at the bit with this intense sexual energy. But I think just being careful about your movements is going to really pay off for you. Now, the grounding energy that you're both bringing to this is the Ten of Air. So the Ten of Air is a card, the end of a difficult situation. And I'm like, wow, this couldn't have been more perfect. I don't think that this Venus retrograde is going to be a walk in the park. I really don't. I think there are going to be some things that are changing for you. There's going to be some dynamics that are shifting. But at the end of it, it's all going to get better. And it's going to be better than it was before the retrograde started. The clarifying card here is Justice. This is a card that represents Libra. Venus retrograde is going to be entering Libra, and then when it goes direct, it will be in Libra. And I feel like that is the confirmation that, things will be getting better at the end of this retrograde. Now, remember, I also mentioned with the devil can indicate attachments. It can maybe even indicate some addiction types of behaviors, or a tendency towards that addictive personality. And this is also a card here, the Ten of Air, of overcoming any types of attachments or addictions. So I love how this grounding energy just kind of wrapped everything up nice and pretty with a bow. You might not feel you might not be feeling that right now, but it's coming. So what is the underlying energy that the feminine's bringing to this reading? We have the Ten of Water, and then we have the Queen of Fire. Now remember, the Queen of Wands came out as a clarifier down here. And, I feel like the feminine's going to be kind of toggling back and forth between the desire to have this happy, contented family life, this coming together with her Divine Masculine and fulfilling that fairy tale, having that trustworthy relationship. And she's going to be toggling between that and this Queen of Fire energy, that focus on my stuff, be independent, be creative, have confidence in myself, and get crap done. And I think that it's not new or unusual for the Divine Feminine to be kind of straddling both energies and going back and forth between it. But I think that the clarifying energy here, we have the Ace of Swords. Sorry, my mind was running around on me. And the Ace of Swords is this Ace of Air down here. And I think it's really funny that we had the Ace of Air in the beginning of the reading, and it was clarified with the Queen of Wands. We have the Queen of Fire coming out at the end of the reading and clarified by the Ace of Swords. So I feel like, this Ace of Swords energy, whatever this truth is that you are seeing, it's really going to help you integrate these energies together. I feel like it's going to help you realize that you don't have to toggle between them, that you can kind of bring them both together, and you can have it all. And I feel like that's something, like, I feel like that's going to be a type of, like, a theme or something that's going to be coming up for you to be looking at during this retrograde. For the divine masculine, we have the Ace of Earth. And the clarifying card for this is Judgment. And, you know, I feel like he is looking at, you know, where can he start fresh? What are the new things that can be coming in for him? And this is going to be affected by him taking a look at the current situations in his life. He's going to be reevaluating things. And some of those things he might be deciding that he's not wanting to be with that anymore, and he's going to want to move in another direction, which is going to, you know, bring that Ace of Earth energy. And then to wrap this all up, I pulled an oracle card. 2 oracle cards came out. And so the first one is Like Attracts Like. And the message with this card, and I just noticed this card is a 2. 2 is, you know, reminds me of union, 2 coming together. You know, so for me, that's a number of coming together. And this card is a reminder that if you are looking for more of something in your life, you need to be more of that something. And so in this case, if you are looking and wanting for more love in your life, you need to practice being more loving. And that's how you will attract more love to you. And then the other card that came out is Have Faith. And, you know, the message here is very simple. It's trust your faith in this situation. And I really do think that this Venus retrograde is going to be testing our faith in relationships, our faith in what they should look like. It's going to, you know, I think even maybe test our faith in what we know to be true. So the bottom line is follow that intuition you have and have faith that things are going to end up better than they started with this retrograde. So guys, I hope that this reading was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when I upload my latest videos. I would also love to hear from you if you have any comments on this video. I would love to get your feedback. Also, if you are interested in getting a personal reading with me, my contact information will be in the description box below. I am wishing you guys so much clarity and hope and love for this Venus retrograde. I hope that it goes as smoothly for you as it possibly can. And I hope that you all come out on the other side of this feeling like, yeah, this ended up better than how it started. So have a great month of October and beginning of November. This isn't too long of a retrograde season, so that is good. Yeah, so that's all I've got for you. I will see you guys next week when I will do a little mini update, like a mini weekly reading. And make sure you also, if you haven't already, check out the monthly love readings for October. Those are up for each astrological sign. And until then, I am wishing you guys all the best as you go through this Venus retrograde. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, a great month, and I will see you soon.